A sickly immigrant kid built Europe's first black-owned studio, then created the most dangerous song in history. Banned by governments, feared by the powerful, Eddy Grant's Electric Avenue wasn't just a hit, it was a weapon. This is the untold story of how a Guyanese outcast changed music forever. Watch before they silence this truth. Born in the sun-drenched town of Plaisance, in the coastal region of Guyana, a young boy named Edmund Montague Grant arrived into a world that would one day echo with his name across continents. His journey, like the storm-tossed seas of the Atlantic, would span cultures, genres, revolutions, and awakenings. He was not just another musician. He was a storm itself. When Edmund's family relocated to England in 1960, the boy who once chased the wind across Guyanese fields found himself navigating a new world in the rigid corridors of London. But amid the drizzle and austerity, a fire began to spark within him, one that would redefine music's boundaries. It wasn't long before that spark ignited. At just 17, he formed the Equals, a bold multiracial band that dared to stand tall during a time when such a formation was rare, even taboo. Their music electrified pubs and nightclubs, their rhythm a fusion of Caribbean fire and British edge. Edmund Montague Grant, now taking on the moniker Eddy Grant, was their force, the pulse behind the lyrics and the architect of their sound. In 1967, though their debut single I Won't Be There didn't crack the charts, it cracked something else, a wall between obscurity and attention. It opened the gates for their debut album to soar into the UK top 10. It was only the beginning. Eddy Grant's pen was potent. His songwriting prowess quickly caught the attention of labels, and he soon began crafting hits for other artists, one being the rugged track Rough Rider for ska legend Prince Buster. But it was with the defiant anthem Baby Come Back that Eddy exploded into global prominence. The song climbed to #1 in several countries, a feat that confirmed what his heart already knew. He was built for this. Yet at the peak of this newfound fame, Eddy did something only a visionary could do. At just 20, he founded Torpedo Records, a label that would market British-made reggae, a bold act of independence, especially for a black man in 1960s England. Then came the collapse. Touring relentlessly, his body could no longer bear the weight of fame's brutal demands. A heart harm and a collapsed lung in 1971 nearly silenced him forever. But Eddy Grant was not a man to be broken. He walked away from the Equals and into the shadows, but not to disappear. No, he retreated to rebuild. In 1972, he unveiled Coach House Studios, the first black-owned recording studio in all of Europe, a sanctuary where sound would become a revolution. By 1974, he launched Ice Records, a label that would soon carry the sonic heartbeat of nations. Eddy's return to solo music was not immediate. He dabbled in acting, explored life beyond the sound booth, but the music, like an ancestral call, kept whispering his name. In 1975, he returned with a self-titled album, Eddy Grant, a declaration that he was back. It didn't shake the charts, but it shook open a door. By 1977, Message Man emerged, an album that saw him write every lyric and play every note, a rare and almost obsessive display of craftsmanship. These were not commercial juggernauts, but they were blueprints of genius. And then, like lightning cleaving the sky, came Walking on Sunshine in 1979, a vibrant fusion of reggae, calypso, funk, and soul that felt like a sonic sunrise. With bold social commentary embedded in tracks like Living on the Front Line, it wasn't just an album, it was a manifesto. The UK albums chart welcomed it to #11, but in Africa, it was seismic. In Nigeria, it wasn't just popular, it was gospel. His music rewired the Nigerian soundscape, inspiring a generation of musicians to cross oceans to record with a man who was now being hailed as a prophet of rhythm. The great Sonia Kosin, one of Nigeria's brightest stars, worked with Eddy to record a thunderous anti-apartheid anthem in 1978. It was here that Eddy, fully embracing his African audience, created a Yoruba version of one of his songs, We Pay Mofi, demonstrating a cultural respect that transcended translation. By 1981, with his signature blend of reggae, funk, and electronic rhythms now unmistakably his own, Eddy Grant released Can't Get Enough. The world couldn't. And then came the tsunami. In 1982, the album Life Taker on a Rampage tore through the global charts like a wildfire. It wasn't just a hit, it was a cultural phenomenon, anchored by the electrifying Electric Avenue, inspired by the Brixton riots in London. The song became a battle cry against inequality and despair. It hit #1 in the US and Canada, and echoed across radios in over 15 countries. Nominated for a Grammy, it only lost to the juggernaut Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, a loss only on paper, for the impact of Electric Avenue remains immortal. That same album birthed I Don't Want to Dance, a deceptively groovy track hiding a poignant message of protest and disillusionment. It ruled the UK charts for 3 weeks and claimed the #1 spot in Ireland, Belgium, Switzerland, and South Africa. Eddy Grant had become not just a musician, but a voice of the people. At the peak of his fame, when most would have doubled down on the spotlight, Eddy Grant walked away. He left the UK and took root in Barbados, opening the legendary Blue Wave Studios. There, he poured his energy into elevating local talent, nurturing artists like David Rudder and Mighty Gabby, quietly engineering a renaissance of Caribbean music from behind the scenes. His presence remained luminous, even in silence, yet the world would not forget him for long. In 1984, Hollywood came knocking. He produced the title track for the blockbuster film Romancing the Stone, starring Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, reminding audiences of his pop brilliance. And though a period of quiet followed, Eddy was merely waiting. In 1988, he detonated a musical bombshell with Gimme Hope Joe Anna, an anti-apartheid anthem disguised as a dancehall groove. Banned in South Africa, the song still blasted from every street corner, every underground party, every hidden radio. In the final years of apartheid, it was a soundtrack for resistance. In Europe, it soared into the top 10 in more than a dozen countries. The 1990s saw him continue his journey, still creating, still producing, still nurturing. Albums like Barefoot Soldier and Soca Baptism kept the spirit alive in the Caribbean and African diaspora. He was not interested in chasing trends. He was busy building legacies. The 2000s brought forth albums like Reparation and Hearts and Diamonds, but it was in 2017 that he offered a final salute to his beginnings with Plaisance, a sonic love letter to the village that birthed him. Now in his late 70s, Eddy Grant resides in Barbados, presiding over his musical kingdom as a sage and elder. Blue Wave Studios remains a haven for innovation, and his wisdom is sought by legends and newcomers alike. The world may not shout his name every day, but his fingerprints are all over it. From Afrobeat to dancehall, from UK pop to Caribbean soca, from Nigerian studios to London riots, Eddy Grant's echo is eternal. He is not merely a reggae star. He is a visionary, an architect, a warrior sound. While many are praised for a hit or two, Eddy Grant crafted movements, forged new genres like ring bang, and carved pathways through oppressive systems with nothing but chords, beats, and truth. He showed that music isn't just art, it's resistance, it's redemption, it's resurrection. The industry has too often tried to box him in, to confine his legacy to a few hits. But you cannot contain thunder. When future generations study the music that changed the world, not just entertain it, they will find his name carved in bold. Eddy Grant, the man who sang with fists, who built studios when doors were closed, who turned riots into rhythm and sorrow into sunshine. The maestro from Guyana, who gave the world songs to dance to and reasons to fight for hope. What does Eddy Grant mean to you? Do you remember where you were the first time you heard Electric Avenue? Which of his messages still echoes in your heart today? Drop your answers in the comments and share his legacy with someone who needs it. Subscribe now for more untold stories of legends who turned sound into strength and silence into revolution.